All right, welcome to Out of the Blue from the Block M Podcast Network, part of the Fan First Sports Network, a podcast that talks about basketball, movies, maybe Bronze Age siege weapons, and nothing else. We don't cover anything else on this podcast. I am Jared Stormer. With me, as always, is Andy Bailey, my hetero life mate. Andy Bailey, who will be performing a series of vaudevillian juggling acts tonight because we have nothing else to really cover. How are you, sir?
You know, I'm a little under the weather, fighting through, so I apologize for the voice or any nasally sounds this evening, but I'm doing better than some we're going to talk about tonight.
Yeah, thank you for hopping on and toughing it out. I am currently in the country of Spain, across the pond, as it were, trying to have just a lovely little vacation, unencumbered by any news events that might come from the old US of A. Unfortunately, that wasn't able to happen. So we'll talk about it, but let's get into it, man. Let's touch the banner here, get a couple odds and ends out of the way here. Fernando Mendoza won the Heisman. That's pretty interesting. Kept it from Julian Sand. Pleased by that. I was glad to see him do it. I think it's deserving. What a season for Mendoza.
I thought the Big Ten championship game was his Heisman moment too. Like I
Sealed
always
it.
look for the guy to have one. I thought that was his performance. I thought he was very deserving, and his speech was awesome. You know, shout out to him. He's kind of like dorky in a Kirk Cousins kind of way, but he's so genuine it comes off nice.
That's actually a pretty good comp for him. He is very Kirk Cousins-y, but like coming from anyone else, you would dismiss it. But coming from him, it's like, no, this feels genuine.
Yeah, it's like good for him. He's like genuinely happy. He's not like mad. He's not embarrassed by it. He just loves his teammates. And Indiana has a Heisman Trophy winner. What year is this?
Yeah, coming from Kirk Cousins, it's oh, what pitiful stuff. Coming from Fernando Mendoza, it's like, I like you. Good for you, son.
Good for you, Fernando.
Rod Moore is eligible to return for his 6th year. Let's not discuss what he'll be returning to, but he is eligible to return, and I would imagine if he's coming back, it's to Michigan.
I would hope, because the reports were worded very particularly where Rod Moore is eligible to come back for another season of college football.
And nothing else there. Nothing else about the specifics of that. Would be welcome back with open arms. It was a bit of a bummer of a year, but with the severity of the injury, it would make sense that it just took a lot longer to get back into game shape. Do you think he could ever, I mean, we're not doctors, obviously. Do you see him ever getting back to being the Rod Moore that we know and love on the field?
I don't know if he'll ever get back to like 2022, 2023 Rod, but what we saw this past year against Wisconsin, I think is still a very high level player, and I think he can play that way again.
Yeah. Wasn't he tied for 3rd on the team with interceptions?
He had an interception in that game. He had an awesome tackle. I mean, the one game you and I were at together this year, we got to see it. And it was good to see. So it's like, he may never be like what he was, or may never reach his potential, but I think he can get closer than most think.
Yeah, absolutely. And talk about a leader on the field. So whatever Rod Moore you're getting, it's certainly welcome. Talk to me about some Michigan women's basketball, brother.
Once again, continue just putting belt to ass to every opponent. They beat Akron yesterday. We're recording on a Sunday. They beat Akron 85-59. They moved to 9-1 on the season, and the wagon rolls on.
The wagon continues a-rolling. Akron, don't even bother showing up. Love to hear it. The auxiliary wagons, we need you now more than ever. Any hockey updates since we last spoke?
Maybe just one small one. They're on winter break right now, but it was announced since the last time we spoke. Team Canada released their World Junior roster. Jack Ivankovic and Michael Hayes were both named to that. So Michigan will now have, I believe, 6 or 7 representatives across Team USA and Team Canada going at it this month. So awesome to see after a year where they had no representatives.
Yeah, well represented across a lot of the international competition, to be honest. Like, those guys show up all over the place. Love to hear it. Anything else you want to talk about? Bronze Age siege weapons. There's some pretty sick castles here. I've got some theories on castle defenses. I don't know. Would you be a fan of building a moat around your house? What's your stance on moats?
I'm probably a moat guy. I wonder about some of the upkeep,
Moat upkeep,
weathering and erosion. I don't know about all that. Maybe I need some serfs out there to tend to it. We can talk about Christmas movies, could rank some of those this week. Nothing else happened.
Nothing else happened since we last spoke. There was no reason for us really to do a pod, but we figured out one. I got nothing going on. Like to hear what Andy has going on in his life, check up on him. Yeah, some stuff has happened, though, unfortunately, since we last spoke. I think that might be putting it mildly. This is perhaps the greatest 1-week upheaval since we have been covering this, and we've covered a scandal before. We just got finished with our last one. and let's do it all again, brother. Let's jump back into it. I don't think this one's going to last a year and a half, but this one is worse. This one is not as fun to joke about. In fact, I don't think we'll have many jokes about this one other than at our own expense, as Sherrone Moore has been fired as the coach of the University of Michigan, fired for cause due to an alleged affair ongoing with a staffer from 2022 to 24. If that wasn't bad enough, the follow-up got a little I don't know what to call it, but it got potentially violent, a little bit scary, very depressing, as he was arrested later on, shortly after that release, for driving to the home of the purportedly the person he was having the affair with and threatening his own life. He is currently out on bail. Michigan has named Biff Poggi as the interim head coach, and the sky is officially falling once more.
You summed it up perfectly, man. And I'm only laughing because you planned this trip to Spain months in advance. You're like, okay, get to a ball, I'll be able to cover that. Don't think we're going to make a long playoff run this year. Nice dead time for me to go and relax, kick back, put the feet up. You're gone 3 days. And this happens. And I have to be the one to break it to you, as often I am, of bad news. And I'm like,
yeah.
Hey, man, well, Sherrone Moore's been fired, and then just your trip just took a nosedive, at least for one evening.
For one evening, yeah. I'm not going to let it take me down.
No.
You certainly can't allow that to ruin your 1 month trip that you've been looking forward to. But I was like walking jovially down the street, like bar to bar, just like having a great old time. All of a sudden, I stopped dead in the street looking at your text. And it got worse from there. Like that was the easy part of this entire thing. Everything that I found out after this story has legs. It has permeated every nook and cranny of American conversation. It's the freaking cold open on Saturday Night Live. It is in all sorts of podcasts. It is generating discussion about men in power and how they abuse power. It has drug the name of the University of Michigan back down into the mud. And I think that we were able to really rally and circle the wagons with the sign stealing thing, because we're like, this was dumb to begin with. Like, it was exploiting a loophole. I think that we could be 10 toes down and defend it. There is no defending this. We're down in the mud and there's no fighting our way out except for what we do next and how we move forward, because this is one man's really poor decisions muddying the good name of Michigan, or at least the decent name of Michigan.
It's like one battle after another. It's like we finished the first
one. That movie
one.
ruled.
That movie did rule. Living through this version does not rule quite as much. I can say that. But yeah, you go from the sign stealing, we put that to bed. Now you go into this, and it's a sad situation. And like, I'm not sad for Sherrone because he's an adult man who made these decisions, brought all this upon himself. But I was sad for his family and his 3 little girls. I was sad for the players who put their faith into a dishonest leader. I was sad for the assistant coaches who now have to think about where they're moving their families in a month. I mean, less importantly, I'm sad for fans like you and I who just want stability from our favorite team. And we just want to talk about ball, but now we're forced to like parse through this.
Yeah, and one of the reports says that as he was threatening to end his life with 2 butter knives and a pair of scissors, which I would love to make a joke about if it weren't so freaking horrible and depressing, saying how she ruined his life. He ruined a lot of other people's lives. You ruined your life, Sherrone Moore, and you messed up the lives, especially of your own family and your 3 little girls. You did that. And this is all on him, in my opinion. Now, the woman having the affair with him knew what she was doing, but she was much younger. He was in a position of power. This happens. This is something that we've seen happen before. I'm not going to throw her under the bus. We're not even going to name her in this podcast. We're not going to discuss her name. That was a good removal by you there. But Sherrone Moore is not going to be free of my ire and my wrath, because you were a grown man given one of the best coaching jobs in the country, absolutely a launching pad to whatever kind of future you want. Like, you could be the next athletic director if you have a good run here. Like, you could be a senator, if you have a good run as a Michigan head coach. And this is what you decided to do. So I have no sympathy for him. I have a great deal of sympathy for a lot of other people involved in this mess.
And this would have just been like a normal Bobby Petrino scandal, infidelity, adultery is involved. It could have just been the normal run of the mill scandal. You and I would have a lot of jokes, a lot of material. Smash jokes. I have so many written out. Can't even use them anymore. I'm sad about that
Yeah,
too.
maybe in the future,
But the crash out afterwards. Now it's
dude.
he's not going to get another job. He's going to lose everything. I don't know what he does from here. I don't know the first step to rebuilding his life, let alone his career. Like everything that preceded the actual firing is why he is in such a hole right now and why he has a probable cause hearing coming up on January 22nd.
Yeah, I could not think of a crash out that destroyed someone's life more like a real one. You know, I was thinking of the Will Smith slap of Chris Rock. He rebounded okay from that. It's more like in oh my gosh, the Bradley Cooper remake, the super depressing
Star is
one with
born.
A Star is Born, where he goes up onto stage and like pisses his pants and just like ruins his life and hers all in one. It is a generational crash out that there is no recovering from. You're absolutely right. Like if it would have just been the affair, you know, you could see 3 years from now where he's the offensive line coach at USF. And it's like, oh, yeah, remember when that guy was our head coach? And maybe there could be reconciliation. I don't think there's any reconciliation. I don't think he ever coaches again. He has absolutely destroyed his reputation. He is going to lose what money he has in court battles and civil litigation. It is a generational crash out. And I mean, he deserves what's coming, but like maybe no one deserves as bad as this is about to get for him.
Yeah. I mean, all that was missing was a white Bronco, it feels like.
Yeah, it's that. Oh man, don't love that comparison. But let's talk through what we know here. The timeline. Apparently, this affair was going on from 2022 to 2024. The WSJ. What does that stand
Wall
for?
Street
There.
Journal.
That's oh. I'm an idiot. Excuse me. Sometime after Moore became head coach, the woman received a significant raise. That's not a good look.
No.
You know, the fact that you're using your power to get her a raise. Um, yeah, at least two other women told university officials that Sherrone Moore had made one unwanted advances towards them on the line. So could be some pattern of predatory type behavior or at least dishonest behavior from the guy. And then the staffer, the alleged staffer that he was having the affair with, brings evidence forward to the university, and Sherrone Moore is fired with cause. And then everything that happened after that happened very quickly. This story developed extremely quickly. We were going to go live and do a live reaction podcast. I'm really glad we didn't, just with the breadth of information that was coming out and the speed at which it was coming out.
Yeah, and some of the fallout now, I mean, we kind of touched on all the personal stuff going on the side, on the periphery, but in terms of football, the fallout is no player currently within the program has left, nothing there yet, but we do know Bear McWhorter and my boy Moose Ludwig have been released from their NLIs. Hard to say that after all the NIL talk, NLI. Moose headed to Texas Tech, and I am very sad.
It's a bummer. It's a bummer. Moose Ludwig, I know, is going to be one of your boys. They're probably not going to be the last ones to go.
No.
I imagine a lot of these guys waiting to see what happens, who Michigan gets as a hire. Currently, the University of Michigan has launched an inquiry into their athletic department. Ward Manuel himself will be under investigation as well, be handled by Jenner and Block. They're the law firm that's worked with the university in recent years. They also are conducting the investigation into whether Sherrone Moore had an inappropriate relationship with the staff member there. So Ward Manuel also under investigation. And I am of the opinion that Ward Manuel should be gone and he should not be allowed to make this hire. This is way too much nonsense happening under his watch.
And I mean, even going back to some of the silly stuff, like Xavier Simpson driving a car was at least in Ward Manuel's daughter's name or something, and the Jeff Jackson stuff. Like, even going back to that, like, there's just always been some gray area with war. I know gray area is the right terminology for it, but there's just always been some chicanery and it's always been
Mhm.
happening. But with the football program specifically over the last 5 years, it's just gotten out of hand. Like it feels like there's no supervision. Talk about the sign stealing allegations. You talk about the Matt Weiss scandal. You talk about the COVID practice stuff. All of that. Like it's just time for new voice, new oversight, new leadership in the position.
Yeah, we have never been a fan of his, but you can't be the AD that oversaw the absolute two worst moments in Michigan, like off field
Yeah.
Michigan moments, and then be allowed to oversee the third. Like, you can't be there. You can't keep that guy around because it's just going to keep happening. And we'll see as more information comes out about this Sherrone Moore story, but it certainly sounds like people knew about it. People are digging up tweets and texts and stuff and showing stuff from 2022, 2023. There's videos of Sherrone Moore in this staffer on the Big Ten network hanging out at games. There's pictures people took out of their front window of him walking her to the university, like up through the parking lot. Like, it'll be interesting to see what this law firm uncovers as far as who knew what and when, and if Ward Manuel was negligent in his duties to look into this properly and do something about it.
Yeah, so we're waiting on resolution for that. Also, should be mentioned that this is being under the guidance of an interim president as well. So Michigan, like if they got rid of Ward, would be an interim president, an interim athletic director, and an interim football coach heading into the Citrus Bowl.
Yeah, Michigan still has a freaking game to play. As we mentioned, Biff Poggi will be the interim coach. Glad to have him aboard as, someone that we know can kind of rally the troops, circle the wagons. That's the exact guy for the job. It'll be fascinating to see what kind of effort you get from these guys with all of this distraction going on. If he can rally them around, I mean, what an absolute credit that will be. Transfer portal opens on January 2nd. Players will have an additional 5-day window from that time and the time the new hire is made official. Michigan will try to align these two as close as possible to mitigate the extra damage being done. Basically, try and save what they can of this class and the roster. But now you basically do get that free transfer out because of the change of coach situation.
Yeah, Michigan's using the same firm. They used to hire Dusty May to make this decision. And what's kind of interesting to me is you brought this up off air. If they're using a firm to conduct the contact and the hiring process, what does the athletic director really do?
What does Ward Manuel do? Because he's certainly not a handsome figurehead, not a stately man.
And it's like is your job just to get blamed to just do nothing? Like you're the fall guy, and it's like if you're the fall guy, why haven't you fallen?
Yeah, he should have fallen on his sword long, long ago. You better fall on your sword for this one. And they better move quickly here. I mean, they need to make a decision here. I guess, like, in a sense, there's no other rush because we're the last team changing coaches now. That's a great place to be, by the way. That's exactly what you want to be, the last team to make a coaching change after everything's already been finalized in the cycle. Tremendous stuff there. Do you want to talk potential candidates?
Let's have some fun.
This is at least the enjoyable
Let's
part of this conversation. Yeah.
let's have some fun. We're going to do a draft. We're going to do 2 drafts actually, because that's what we're going to do here. We just need to, get the juices flowing, get some of this bad stuff out of the way. First draft, we're going to each draft 3 coaches we'd like to see Michigan hire. Second draft, we're going to draft 3 coaches we don't want to see Michigan hire. To have a little fun with that one.
All right. How do we want to do it? Are we going back and forth? Are we just doing the
we'll
wants and then the don't wants?
We'll go back and forth. Let's do the wants first. And again, let's keep this serious. Let's not be like Nick Saban, make him say no. I hate that conversation.
Make him say no. Yeah,
Like,
Joel Klatt loves that.
it's so lazy. It's just like, I got good content here. This will get some clicks. So no, let's keep it like, Count Chocula, Peter Pan. Let's live in real world here and let's keep it, semi-close. And then we can go into what we don't want. Also keep it in real world. Let's not be like, I don't want him to hire Charlie Weiss. That would be awful. It's like, well, no shit.
Charlie Weiss. Still getting paid by Notre Dame.
Probably. Dad,
Yeah.
you want first
All right,
pick?
brother. Yeah, I'll take first pick. My first pick would probably be, and you talked me into it. I was kind of a coin flip between these two. I'll take Kalen DeBoer. I think of reasonable guys that are on the board. Mike Tomlin and John Harbaugh are names if you're living in a fantasy world. I think Tomlin is like the craziest one that could potentially be possible. Like that's the craziest one that I would allow. Pittsburgh makes a change. There's no other openings in the NFL. He wants to totally change it up. But I think Kalen DeBoer is probably the best semi-realistic one.
19-5 against top 25 teams the past 5 years, has never had a losing season as a head coach, and has a career record of 123-19 in 11 seasons.
I mean, that'll do, man. That'll do.
Like I pulled it some stats even further because Kalen DeBoer was also my number 1 pick. Of those 19 losses, 11 were by 1 possession and only 4 were by 15 or more. Sherrone Moore had lost by 15 or more 4 times in 2 years. And I know Kalen DeBoer has struggled to replace, quote unquote, struggled to replace the greatest coach of all time by making the playoff this season, being the first team out last season, going 2-1 against Kirby Smart, including snapping a 33-game home win streak. But he's also never lost to a rival as a Power 4 head coach, going 6-0 against Washington State, Oregon, and Auburn.
Number 2 recruiting class as well
Yeah.
currently. So
Yeah.
that would be
And
helpful.
Courtney Morgan's his GM, the former director of recruiting for Michigan of the 2022 class, who is directly responsible for finding Mason Graham on his own. Like he
Mm.
brought in Will Johnson, Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant, that class, and then he left after that year and joined Kalen DeBoer at Washington, followed him to Bama. So it's projected that he would also come back to Michigan, knows the area. DeBoer also knows the Midwest, coached at South Dakota State, coached at Eastern Michigan, so ties to the Midwest as well.
It's also a very interesting situation in that then you make Alabama the last one in the musical chairs without a
Exactly.
chair, and you kind of knife them in the side. You take Kalen DeBoer, as much as their fans are like ready to move on DeBoer. It's like, you might not be as ready as you think when you don't have anyone lined up.
It's funny how the tune has changed in Bama. Like leading into the playoff, it was like he's coaching for his job, and then as soon as Michigan gets interested, they're like, "Hold on, now he's hard. We like him. We didn't need all that stuff we were saying about him. We don't mean that."
Yeah.
It's like, oh, now you like Kalen. Okay, I see how that goes.
Yeah, absolutely. Would he leave that job? I have no idea. If he drops the first playoff game, I think we have a better shot,
I do
because
too.
then the Alabama fans might start to get riled up a little bit.
Yeah. All right. So first pick to me now, Kalen DeBoer off the board. I'm going to surprise you a little bit here. I'm not going to go with the name
Okay.
that's been tossed around as much. I'm going to go with my guy Eli Drinkowitz at Missouri.
Okay. I like it.
Just like what he's built there. The program is super tough. He's done it at the SEC with limited resources and limited recruiting. I just love this team and this program, man. Like I know they had the down year in 2024 and they kind of had to build back up this year, but this team was a mother to play this season. Like even when they lost their starting quarterback, things just didn't go completely sideways. They battled in every game. I like the fact that he beat Ohio State already in that bowl game 2 years ago. And like, despite all these curveballs, he went 8-4 in the SEC. Like, that's difficult to do, especially when you lose your starting quarterback. He played Alabama within 3 points, played Vanderbilt within a score, played Oklahoma tight late in the season. Like just even the ups and downs. I like the rushing style. I like the defense. I like the resilience.
Yeah, no, that's a really good one. Drinkowitz has been impressive. I like the way that they built this team and the way that their offense and defense, and like they've got a good running back. They got a balanced offense as well. It's not the sexy hire, but I like where you're going. I'm also going to go not sexy. I'm going to go with your guy Jason Eck from New Mexico. Took him from 5-7 to 9-3. I know this one again wouldn't be the sexiest, and we're kind of getting into like, really, Jason Eck from New Mexico, won everywhere that he's been.
Dog.
We played New Mexico this year, and they were prepared right out of the gate. Like that looked like a well prepared team. I think that he would get the most out of this Michigan team. How high is the ceiling? I do not know, but I think it'd be a pretty high floor.
Yeah, I mean, love what he did at Idaho before coming there. Played Oregon tough when he was the head coach at Idaho. Like, just gets the most out of his teams. He's a really an innovative mind, and like the way he just built New Mexico so fast, like just immediately. I mean, it was their best season in like 40 years too. So just completely turned around the program. Love the way he's trending. Next one, gonna go kind of obvious here. Kenny Dillingham.
Yep.
I still think he's the favorite right now. And I really
Sounds
like
like it.
Dilly. He's from a similar tree as Chip Lindsey and has actually followed Lindsey as OC before, going back to Auburn in 2019. And last season was magical for Arizona State. But I do have some concerns. Like, I think it's fair to say, like, let's not forget that this team returned the most starters in the Power Four this past season and went 8-4 in the Big 12. And like, I know Levitt got hurt, but he was healthy in the losses to Mississippi State and Houston. And this kind of performance gives strong Illinois vibes, with like the peaks and the valleys. And I'm worried that his best career win is over Iowa State.
Yeah, and I mean, very young, and yeah, you gotta be careful. I'd like to see one more year of Dillingham before I went 10 toes down. And I'd like to see how he recovers from this one, because yeah, we had high expectations for them this year. I would be pretty excited by Dillingham
I
and
would be.
DeBoer or any of the names that we've mentioned so far. I think after that, there's a drop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next up, I'm gonna go ahead and take Jesse Minter I'm going to take the Chargers defensive coordinator. I don't love the idea of getting a first time head coach, but if it was going to be somebody, I'd want somebody that had some familiarity within the program. Some of these guys we're familiar with, and he'd be an exciting young head coach. Who does he get to then come in and run his offense? What kind of offensive philosophies does he even have? But I think he'd bring that tough nosed defense with him for sure.
Mentor's on my do not draft list.
Okay.
I've
Interesting.
I have Mentor along with any first time head coach, and like Mentor
That's
especially.
very reasonable.
Mentor especially though, man, because I just want a clean break from the previous regime. I want a clean
Fair.
break. Like, that's one thing after this whole Sherrone Moore fiasco. Like, let's just move in a different direction. Like, let's not stop trying to play the hits of the hardball era, and let's let somebody else just take the reins completely. So I
That's
like
fair.
Jesse Mentor, though. I think he's an elite coordinator, and I would be surprised, though, if he came back to college. I mean, you and I have talked about how much better NFL coaching is now than college anyway.
It's a big gap. It's a big gap. Yeah. Does he want to come back? And your point about the first time coach and the break from the Harbaugh tree and playing the hits is well taken.
Yeah. All right. My last one for the coach. So I've seen a few names tossed around, some more serious than others. I don't think Marcus Freeman is very serious. I don't think they're going to go with a defensive hire. I don't think that at all. I've seen Mike Elko tossed around from Texas A&M. Got me.
If that's a reasonable one, I would take him over Minter, and
yeah.
That's my number one pick. If that's a reasonable one,
that got me a little excited. But again, like that, there's a fine line there. But if we're talking more just strictly within reason, Jeff Brom's got to be the next one. Like you wonder what he can do with more resources, but like lest we forget, like everywhere he does, he makes the program better. Like you saw how fast Purdue dropped off before he was there, after he was there. He took that team to the freaking Big Ten championship. And like with Louisville this season, but you brought up a great point. You're wondering if he's like a small, like a mid-major coach. He does great with less resources, but can he have the same success with more resources, with a bigger program, with more obligations and things on his plate?
Yeah, it'd be an interesting one. We've always been Jeff Brom supporters, but he let us down a little bit this year. I thought that they were going to be in a wide open ACC. I thought that they had a real chance to do it, and disappointed a little bit, but that doesn't take away from who he's been as a coach up to this point. It's not the best list, to be honest. Like if Elko's on that list and it's Elko, DeBoer, Dillingham, and those are the three, hell yeah. Like I can ride with that. But if it's like DeBoer's not really interested, and then it's Dillingham, Eck, and a drop, and it's like, oh man, like this is not great.
It's top heavy, especially this time in the cycle. Like, I mean, again, if we get Kalen DeBoer, I'm going to be ecstatic personally. I just think it's a great fit. And I'm not as concerned about maintaining the Michigan identity. Like I love running the damn ball as much as anyone alive. And I understand we all get a little scared about maintaining tradition after Rich Rod and the initial speed and space incarnation, but there is a wide spectrum of offenses. It doesn't just have to be the Michigan way or not the Michigan way. Winning is all that matters. Look at Ohio State. Legendary head coach Woody Hayes is the one who attributed the 3 yards in a cloud of dust moniker. Does Ryan Day's style resemble that? No. But his winning percentage is even better than Hayes's. Michigan should be focused on several attributes in this cycle, but if the coach wins consistently at a high level, regents, stakeholders, and fans will not care how it's done.
No, I totally agree. God, it feels like time is a flat circle, and it very well is. Because I remember being like, no, it's time to just forget about the past, though. Like, we've got to do things the Michigan way. And then getting back to the Michigan way is what ended up getting us to the promised land. And now we're like, time to get away from it. I don't care what it is. Just get us back to
it's just winning.
relevance.
Winning is all that matters. Like, you can still run the football. And I think Kalen DeBoer's offense this year only averaged 5 less runs than Michigan's. So it's like, it's not like it's completely air raid or anything else like that. I saw a great comparison in an article, said his offense is like, has the heart of a Chevelle and the body of a Bugatti. Like it looks like fancy and spread out, but it's based upon the smash on the inside. And I think that would be a nice fit.
Okay. Do not draft. You mind if I get first pick?
All right, go ahead, sir.
Do you know the first pick?
You're going to steal my pick again. I know you are.
It's Brian Kelly.
1,000%.
Not only is it Brian Kelly with a bullet, I'm not kidding when I tell you this. If it's Brian Kelly, the podcast is done. The podcast is done, or at least we're only covering basketball. I will not cover a Brian Kelly football team. We are not drinking Merlot.
100%, man. Like when this name first surfaced, and I swear it was just brought up by people we know with interest against Michigan's better interest. I was so mad. I'm like, absolutely not. Brian Kelly cannot be the head coach of Michigan. I will be furious. I will rant. I will rave. I will write a letter. I will do that. I'm not going to get any butter knives, but like I'm going to be pissed. It's just it's the no brainer of no brainers. Like it had to be first. I'm going to go a little less obvious for my first pick. I'm going to go Clark Lee from Vanderbilt.
Okay.
I
Why is that?
I love Clark Lee. I think what he did this year with Vanderbilt, I predicted him before the season to be the national coach of the year. We've only seen him win with Diego Pavia at quarterback. We have not seen life after Pavia yet. And this is a very small sample size. And we know what happens with the hot commodity in a small sample size. Like it often flames out. Like, let's see some more coaching under your belt. Let's see how that goes. Like, I know he's energetic and does all the fun stuff, but like, I just don't like betting on a guy whose success has been based around one player.
Very reasonable. I know you're a Pavia guy, not a Pavia guy myself. Some of his interviews are absolutely disgusting.
I may like the way he plays football, but it doesn't mean I want him to lead youth worship at my church. Like, okay.
All right. I'm going to go with the second pick. This is one that I heard a couple weeks ago, or a couple days ago, excuse me, not weeks ago. It feels like weeks with this particular last week. Give me Tommy Rees, offensive coordinator for the Cleveland Browns. They're currently the 29th ranked offense. So whenever you can get the offensive coordinator for the 29th ranked NFL offense who's never had a head coaching job, you got to do it, right? What are we talking about, Tommy Rees? We are better than that, even at our lowest.
What are you talking about, dude? His quarterbacks pass for dozens of yards.
Dozens of yards at a time. They have as much as 2 wins this year.
And again, another first-time head coach. It's like, look at this guy. He's underqualified. His offense sucks. He'd be a great head coach.
What are we talking about here?
Absurd. My next one, this was another name I saw thrown around, and the defense was he's a conference champion. Manny Diaz.
No.
He's a 7-5 conference champion. That's who I want leading my team. You know, this guy lost 5 times in the ACC. That's exactly who I want to bring in and lead this team. Like, it's just ridiculous. I don't see the merit behind it. I don't see anything positive. Like, that would be the ultimate settling. That would just be like going to a party at 10 a.m. And it's not like late at night and you're like, okay, well, gonna go talk to this girl now. It's like, okay, I'm out of here, boys. Leaving the party early. Got this one. I'm done. Like, that's what Manny Diaz is. The least sexy hire I can think of.
Absolutely atrocious. I want no part of it. I couldn't agree more. My last one, and this one hurts a little bit. I like him for thee, but not for me. John Gruden. Just been out of the game too long, dramatically different. It would be a bit of a circus, and we don't need a circus right now. We need a coach. I like what Rich Eisen said about like what Michigan needs as their next football coach. They need the Dusty May, like someone who's like just built winners everywhere he goes and like is just all about building from the ground up. John Gruden, I mean, he hasn't coached since like 2021, I think.
He hasn't coached in college since 91.
Since 1991, none of these people were born. Some of their parents weren't born. Like,
Yeah.
cannot be John Gruden as much as I want to see him return to coaching.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's good for the sport. Like when you and I can like, you know, just silently root for him at Virginia Tech or something. It's a lot different when he's leading your program. Plus, you know, it's a short-term thing anyway. And like, I want stability. I don't want that. I don't want the rental. My last one, it hurts me to say, like, I want him to be involved in the staff moving forward because I think he is essential, honestly, to keeping the ship afloat right now, and that's Biff Poggi.
Yeah. No, totally reasonable. We have to shoot for bigger fish than that.
Yeah, like he's a great vibes guy. I think he's like the perfect associate head coach. Like for times of this, he's great for morale. I think what he's doing now is a completely thankless job, and he seems to be doing it admirably, keeping everybody engaged for the bowl game. And after the fact, I hope he's retained for it, or at least rewarding his services in some capacity. But like, I do not want Biff Poggi to be our next head coach.
Yeah, and that's not a knock on Biff Poggi, who I have a tremendous amount of respect for, and it sounds like these players have a tremendous amount of respect for. But if he were the interim for 1 year because Kalen DeBoer doesn't work out, Dillingham gets an extension done, would you go that route, the 1-term interim, 1-year interim?
I would rather go 1 year interim than hire a Manny Diaz or a Brian Kelly or
Correct.
somebody like that.
Same here.
Like,
Yeah.
It's like, don't, because if you do that, you could be turning this problem into a multiple year problem. With Poggi there, it's like you're more likely to retain the majority of the roster and the recruiting class, and then you can do a thorough investigation. And we know, or not investigation, a thorough search of the next head coach and take your time. And we know how crazy the coaching cycle is. Things can change so fast. Entering this season, nobody thought James Franklin was going to be fired mid-year. Like that was just not
Mhm.
on the table. So like things could change fast, and the next year you could take advantage of that.
Biff Poggi for an interim year or Jed Fish?
Interesting. Neither you and I said that. I've kind of cooled on Fish, to be
Yeah,
honest.
me too.
Like
That's
it's
why.
when you dive into it, it's like, what's the accomplishment? What are we hanging our hat on? And like I like a lot of the stuff he does at Washington, but the reluctance of the run game sometimes, the defensive up and downs, like I think I'd rather go with the interim.
I think so too. And see, like then you get the jump on next year's cycle. So
Yeah.
you go from being the last one in this cycle to the first in next year's cycle. And maybe Biff Poggi can really surprise and we have a pretty good year against a tough schedule next year. And you try and keep this thing afloat for 1 year. It would not be the best outcome.
No,
I'm gonna be totally honest.
no.
I don't love the sound of that and like throwing away a year. We only have so many years on God's earth,
Yep.
like throwing away a year of Michigan football. And maybe it wouldn't be a throwaway. Maybe he would scratch and claw his way to 9 wins. But against that schedule with the upheaval that we've got coming, it'd be tough. You would have to keep both your main coordinators.
Yeah, you and I both don't think Wink's coming back. We both think he's returning to the NFL, so then he's got to make that hire. And then Michigan next season could be potentially playing football with an interim head coach, an interim athletic director, and an interim president. That's not stability that's going to attract top coaching candidates.
Fun times. Fun times. All right, brother. Let's take a break. When we come back, we have some happier tidings to discuss. We'll be back right after this. All right, we are back. We are broken and battered men. College football sucks. Let's talk about college basketball, which does not suck. And I am eager to discuss Michigan men's basketball. Please save us, God. Michigan basketball has only started 10-0 6 times in history: 85, 86, 88, 89, 2012, 13, 18, 19, 2021 and currently. In all of those years, they were title teams to varying degrees of success. They won a national title in 88, 89. They were in the title game 12, 13, and 18, 19. Who knows where this is going? But Wagon doesn't quite put it up, doesn't give it enough justice with how good this team is, man. They're finding different ways to win, led by Yaxel Lendenborg, who had his probably most signature game against Maryland last night, but they continue to get better and more scary. And I have no idea what the ceiling of this team is.
I don't know if I've ever seen a player like Yaxel Lindeborg at Michigan, where he just gives the team exactly what it needs at the exact right time. He's not selfish. He can do a little bit of everything. And it feels like if he wanted to try to score 40 points a game, he could, but that's not in the best interest of the team. So he just fills in the gaps, whether it's the box and one defense they kind of played in the second half last night against Maryland, or it's him scoring 10 points straight to start the second half. Like he always just finds to fill in the gaps at the right time and give this team exactly what it needs. Like it's very impressive to watch. And the best way I can describe it is literally watching an NBA player play in college.
Yeah, man. And we were comping him to Franz Wagner early on. It's not a very good comp because we
He's
only got young Franz. This is a grown man out there. This is a guy that's played a lot of basketball and is just like brilliant in basketball standards at the college level. And no, like you said, knows exactly what the team needs. Last night against Maryland in the 101-83 win, they trail by 5 at the half. Lendenborg starts to really cook. Didn't score for what was it, the last 11 minutes, you
last
said, which is
11
insane.
minutes. Yeah, just
Which
play
is
defense and pass the ball.
which is crazy because he had 29 points, 9 assists, 8 rebounds, 3 blocks, 2 steals, first 10 points of the second half, didn't miss a shot in the final 20 minutes, 4 of 4 from the field in the final 20. Absolutely insane, man. Just a real player and probably would be the leading candidate for the Wooden Award if he wanted to be. I think he'll be in those conversations by the end, particularly if
Oh
Michigan
yeah.
keeps winning. But, Cadeau's also been great over this stretch, including in the win over Villanova, 89-61 since
Yeah.
we last spoke. I think Cadeau's been great. Ade Mara has stepped up recently. McKinney was in double figures against Villanova. So it's a Yaxel Lendenborg-led team, but there's still so much talent here outside of him.
It's the depth, man. Like we keep talking about it, just comes at you in waves. Like last night against Maryland, it was LJ Kaysen coming in and playing one of his best games of his career with timely threes and good defense. Roddy Gale and Amari Burnett both doing their thing on the court, playing with a lot of energy. Will Cheddar just kind of being in like no man's land between first team, second team. He's kind of like just in the mix there and does whatever he wants. Like he's just like the ultimate glue guy. Like he's so serviceable even on a night when Maryland shoots over 50% from three and almost 50% from the field, the team is still struggling to keep it within 20. Like this is the best Michigan team we have covered. I think this team is better than
Yes.
18 and 19. I know that team got off to the 17 and 0 start and made the finals and lost to Nova, but Lindenborg is better than College Franz. Like if Lindenborg has like a shot with the game on the line, like in 2021 against UCLA, he's not airballing it. I think he's going to make it. Like I just feel that confident in Lindenborg.
I'm totally with you there. I think this is the best team that we've covered. There's so many different ways that they can win. Let me ask you a question and then a follow-up question here. Who is the second best player on this team right now?
God. Oh man, see, that's such a great question. Best or valuable?
That's the follow-up question.
I was thinking second best is probably Mojo, Morez
Yes.
Johnson Jr., but if value, it's got to be Cadeau because
We lockstep.
what he's doing with running this team is so impressive. And like against Villanova, when they start going under screens, he's like, okay, I'll be a shooter now. Finishes one off a career high. Or against Maryland, he's like, okay, I got to be a passer. Has 10 assists.
Yeah, we are lockstep there. Cadeau, as the engine of this offense, is really working a lot better than I anticipated. And to be fair, like I was basing a lot of my analysis off what you and Liv had watched and
Yeah, at
seen
Carolina.
last year at North Carolina. Yeah, because I didn't watch a ton of Carolina. I watched them. I saw
Yeah.
probably 2 or 3 games of Carolina last year. But, basing what you were saying, that he was kind of more of a gunner who looked to score more. But the fact that he's looking to set his teammates up and he recognizes the amount of talent around him is really, really encouraging. So he's a huge piece of this. I agree. Mojo is probably second best. He's your next guy that you look at to maybe make the jump to the NBA. Trey McKinney is also an NBA player whenever he decides to make the jump. The shot looks good. He's athletic. He can absolutely get to the rack. So you've got all of that. And then you mentioned Will Cheddar, LJ Kaysen, guys that are starting to come on. Ade Mara is massive and a little peaks and valley with Ade Mara, a little up and down, but that's fine with the amount of other talent you got, the amount of other size that you got. You can withstand Ade Mara having an off game. And then when you get a game where it's like, oh, no, 14 and 11 from Ade Mara, that's just a boost to your team.
Yeah, listen to what we're saying right now. Our fourth best player on offense is a little up and down. Just a ridiculous sentence. Of course he is. That's why he's the fourth best on offense, but it also doesn't surprise you when he's the first best. Because like you just see like how the team can go. Like sometimes Yaxel will finish under 10 points and it doesn't surprise me. But then sometimes we'll have over 30, which also doesn't surprise me. Because like that's how the team is. It's just like if somebody's hot, they keep getting him the ball. Like Roddy Gale, I believe it was Nova the game before that, just came in for like an incredible 10-minute stretch and just changed the energy. It was very like Westbrookian-esque without the inefficiency. He was just high energy on defense, high energy on offense. And when the team needed it, it lifted everybody up. And I think having those waves come in and different guys be the source of the energy is leading to different players leading in the box scores.
Yeah, like great call out. We didn't even mention Burnett or Gale. We're this deep into this discussion here. These were essential personnel last year. And now with the way that Dusty May has reconfigured this roster, they are in such better positions to succeed where they are like fourth, fifth guy. And on certain nights, maybe they're 2 or 3 when you need them, kind of like Lindsey Hunter used to be for the Pistons. It's like,
what a pull.
we don't we don't need you to go out there and be the best guy, but there's going to be nights where Yaxel and Cadeau are off, and like we might need you to step up, or vice versa. There's nights where those guys are cooking, and the gravity of Yaxel Lendenborg is giving Namari Burnett and Roddy Gale open looks. And you just need to be able to make those open looks. So they are better cast with where they are at right now. I think everyone is really well cast in their roles on this team.
And I like that this is a big team that plays big. Like Michigan dominates at points in the paint every game during this stretch. And I love that because you hate when you watch like a big team in the NBA just try to space the floor and shoot threes. Like if you have such an advantage inside, take over. Because size, again, is one thing you can't teach. And it's one reason basketball is still played by tall people and not people like you and I.
Yeah, that's kind. It's funny to watch the NBA realize that again. That
I know.
like, oh yeah, by being taller, you're closer to the basket, and like the Rockets are going massive, and the Thunder are going massive, and now everyone's going back to size. So you can absolutely play with a very big lineup. Michigan can run with you if they want to go small. It's extremely deep. It's extremely versatile. And when you have Yaxel Lendenborg, who's going to be right up there for the Wooden, who I think will probably be a lottery pick. It's a little early, but as we get a little bit closer to the new year, start keeping an eye on where he's going. He's definitely playing in the NBA. It's a fun team. It's an interesting team. And Dusty May, man, like it seems like he has found a groove too.
Yeah.
Does he strike you as a guy that's going to have them like this every year, or is it more kind of like what Michigan was trying to do on the football field, where it's like every 2 or 3 years you're going to have a real crack at it?
I think it's every year, especially in
I think it's more
basketball where
year
there's
over year.
far
Yeah.
less variables. Like if he gets one good player and everybody loves Dusty. That's one thing Cadeau keeps talking about is I think he was terribly miscast at UNC, but here he's appropriately cast, fits the system. Like they're playing to his strength and his skill set, and everyone loves Dusty. Like I think he's very upfront. He has that like Naruto tendency, the Michigan hockey coach, where he is equal parts coach and teacher. And I think that's a modern trend we're seeing where players like don't want the traditional old school, just yell at me to teach me. It's like, no, teach me the game, help me understand it, also be a coach. And no one better than Dusty May at that.
Yeah, no, it's such a contrast to what's happening right now on the football field, where there's just utter confidence in this guy. The vibes are extremely high. The players love him. It's they're riding high right now. I mean, consensus number one team. I think like it's Michigan and Duke in a drop for me. Like as far as teams
Arizona.
that I've watched. I haven't
Yeah.
watched Arizona. I said of teams that I've watched.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Koa
Of
Pete's a
teams that I've
dog.
watched. Koa Pete's a stud. He will play in the NBA. He played with Mojo on the juniors team in the
Yeah.
summer. So I have watched Koa Pete play, but I haven't seen Arizona play yet. But yeah, like those are probably the three teams that you're looking at as the most dangerous right now. Pretty obvious one seed locks right now. Coming up, this Michigan schedule, there's USC, it's LaSalle, McNeese, and then USC. Is that one on the road?
Yes, USC's on the road.
So USC on the road is the next one to really circle, I
Yeah.
would say, because LaSalle and McNeese they should be able to handle, and then after that it's Penn State. You got a while until you got Nebraska, and then Michigan State, of course, will play them twice. But this schedule, man, like they have everything lined up for them to be a number one seed.
Yeah, again, program record 17-0 by that last Beeline team in 18-19. So, I mean, it's on the table. Like that USC game will be tough because of the travel. USC 9-1, time of recording this. They play tonight, I think. So that'll be something to keep an eye on. And just any Big Ten game is going to be tricky. Like last night, Penn State played Michigan State tough. So like as you get more into conference week to week, it gets a little bit tougher to win.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And we're really going to get into the swing of the conference. And there's some interesting teams in the Big Ten this year, as there are every year
Yeah.
that can give you a challenge. But that was a tricky Maryland team, and that Maryland team was absolutely shooting the cover off the ball.
Yeah.
And Michigan still came back and won by 20. So it should give you some confidence. Yeah, the USC one is interesting because the road test and the time zone
Yep.
test. Let's see how they're able to handle that. And, there's some other teams out there like Illinois, I think is a pretty interesting team that's got some guys that can do some stuff that we haven't seen, particularly on the wing with Stojakovic, which makes me feel old because I was a huge Peja guy, but it's fun to watch.
I know, man. I think with this team, the one thing I'm really starting to appreciate is looking at every game how it pertains to the future. Like you looked at like the tournament run, and obviously the 1-to-1 is the NCAA tournament. And like last night felt like an NCAA tournament game in a way where it was like a less talented team gets super hot and is led by a dynamic scorer playing out of his mind. Diggy Coit, the Kansas transfer, has 8 threes, finishes with 31 points, but only has 9 in the second half. And to watch this Michigan team on the road in their only second true road game of the season, not panic, readjust at halftime, get it together, change some coverages up defensively, and just put bell to ass is the sign of a mature team. Like they haven't faced a lot of adversity recently, but when they did, they didn't blink twice.
Yeah, I mean, it's fascinating. Dusty May has so many weapons at his disposal. And if like they need to go win a game defensively, they absolutely can. And we've seen what they've been doing offensively. I mean, getting up over 100, what was it, 4 games in a row before the
Yeah.
Villanova game? Like, absolutely cooking. So they can win with offense, they can win with defense, they can win with a balance, they can win at the free throw line, just bullying you with physicality. They have a ton of ways to win. And again, in the tournament, that's exactly what you need when it
Yes.
comes tournament time, like the ability to win in a multitude of ways. Guard play is always huge in the tournament, but really what's more important is like lead scorer, guy that can get you a bucket when, when the going gets tough. And we have that.
It's Michigan has everything you could want for an NCAA champion. Like you look around, like with the size, with the guard, with the guy to take over late in game. The size is the one thing I love because we saw that out in Las Vegas. Like with a day notice, it was pretty much impossible to beat. And in a tournament, it's only going to be, 2 days and then like a quick week turnaround. You got to prepare for a front line of a Daimara, Mojo, and Yaxel Lindenborg. And like, unless you have seen a front line of that size, which very few teams have, it's hard to be ready for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And very few teams have this level of size. So it's a fun team, man. I'm really enjoying covering them and the contrast between the joy I feel in covering them and the absolute misery in talking about the football team right now is stark, but I'm happy to have them. And yeah, it's gonna be a really good run here. What else regarding the basketball team? What are we missing?
Keep one thing in mind. 2 years ago, the basketball team won 8 games. And 2 years later, look where they're at. The football team's in a dark spot right now. In 2 years, it could be a national title contender.
If we can keep a lot of that talent, man, if we can keep a lot of the talent that we've amassed, and you said it too, it's like guys we're attached to. That's the really
That's
hard
what's
thing
going
is
to
you
hurt.
lose guys. That's what's gonna hurt is like losing Savion Hyder or Andrew Marsh or when the real heavy blow lands, how much that's gonna hurt and how mad I'm gonna get again at Sherrone Moore. And I'm pretty mad at Sherrone Moore right now. Not to end this on a negative after just talking about such a positive, but I like your point there that like even though it seems low, it can turn around quickly, and the transfer portal really helps with that.
That's what it does. It giveth, it taketh, and it giveth. So, like, we could lose some guys we like, but also if you bring in like a Kalen DeBoer, who just inked the #2 recruiting class in the country, we could fill some of those gaps pretty quick.
Yeah, and to ensure that we end on a positive here, where you at in your movie watch? We got the end of the
Oh,
year movie, yeah, end of the year movie pod and season award pod. We gotta prep for that. I'm in a pretty good place movie wise.
I've been mostly watching Christmas movies recently, so I have a lot of
Understood.
Christmas. I have a lot of Christmas
'Tis the
takes
season.
as the as the season may be. I have some on the list I want to catch up on. Not to sound like a snob, I really want to watch that Iranian movie that came out. That's like the front runner for Best Picture. That one seems really interesting. Where like the director has been ordered to be arrested again back in Iran, and he had served jail time on and off already.
Seems important.
Seems like I was like, I kind of want to see this. I heard it's like just a very wild ride, kind of reminiscent of Parasite a few years ago. So like, not to sound like an ass, but like that's one I definitely want to see. But I got to catch up on some PTA. Got to catch up on some more at home. I definitely want to see the new Bradley Cooper movie. Is This Thing On with Will Arnett?
I'd like to check that out. I watched the new Ryan Johnson Knives Out movie, which is out on Netflix. Delightful, ton of fun.
Okay,
Enjoyed it. So add that to the list of what was a pretty good movie year. Very, very excellent at the top so far. So I'll need to watch like Hamnet and a couple of the other ones
you
that are
couldn't
gonna
pay
get
me to
some.
watch Hamnet. Like I wouldn't watch Hamnet
But
if it were playing in my glasses. Like that sounds awful. I think Paul Mescal has the charisma of watching paint dry. I'm fine. Good luck.
I'm also not a Paul Mescal guy. Okay, but you're in on the Iranian torture jail movie? What's going on
It's
here?
not a torture jail movie. That's just what happened in the director's personal life. The
Oh,
actual
that's what
story
happened to him.
is good. It happened to him. He lived that shit. He's been through it. Like, again, I would rather watch Iranian torture movie than Hamnet with Paul Mescal.
Paul Mescal. You're like Quentin Tarantino with Paul Dano. It's like, what did this guy do to you? He's like, I hate
I saw
Paul
Gladiator
Mescal.
2. That's what he did to me. Okay. It was my
I watched
mistake.
it too. Didn't we see it together? Or no, we watched
No,
it
we
right
saw
around
it
the same
separately
time.
and we both felt like I hated it more than you, but man, Mescal was awful. It's just not good.
Yeah, it absolutely had the charisma of a filled diaper. It was terrible. I hated it.
Anytime Denzel Washington wasn't on screen, it just dropped off a cliff. It's like he's doing a New York accent in ancient Rome, and it's so much more compelling than whatever Mezcal's trying to do.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. I do not see the draw there. I'm there with him and Elordi. It's like, no, these guys are hot, and they're the next thing, and I'm like, I don't see it, guys. I'm sorry, like, and I'm not a hater. Like when a young actor like Chalamet's won me over. Yeah, Chalamet won me over. Oh.
Have you seen Frankenstein?
I did, yeah, and that's what made me say that about Elordi. I still liked it, but he didn't do it for me. And it is like the sad, lovable monster. We've done it so many times, and I know that's the OG, but did we need to do it again?
Who was asking for that?
Who's asking for that? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, Andy Serkis is making an animated version of Animal Farm, the George Orwell Animal Farm, mind you. But it looks like it's played for children, and it's just like, in the history of missing the mark, I don't know that anyone's ever missed the mark more than this. And like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess that's what you get when you're an auteur. Like, you think you know best. And it's like, bro, the average person does not care about a Frankenstein or an Animal Farm remake.
That's really going to get me You know what? Like, I haven't seen Zootopia 2. I really like the first one, but like, Zootopia 2 made over $900 million in 2 weeks. It's not that hard to determine what works and what doesn't. Animated Animal Farm is not it.
My God. Like, if you don't know what Animal Farm's about, maybe do a quick Google. That is not supposed to be an animated, have a good old time, romp in the...
That's like having the Muppets depict the Holocaust. Like, it just doesn't work.
Schindler's List, but everyone that's not Liam Neeson is played by Muppets. That's horrible. Yeah. Can't even say that.
Fozzie Bear is playing Ray Fiennes' character. It's just a different energy.
Amon Goth played by Fozzie Bear. All right, well, we're going to hell.
Well, it's a good note to end the pod on.
Yeah. Well, after this week, I would say that's actually uplifting.
Yeah.
After the week that we've had. But look, we'll be here to get you through it the best we can. Scandal number 4 that we've covered here. Some of them less than others. This one seems substantial, but we'll get through it. Good news is, like we said at the top, once we get a coach hired, really all we'll have to do is report on the sentencing, and then we move on from this. We cast him out, and that'll be the end of that. And hopefully put this behind us, hopefully move on from Ward Manuel and totally put this whole era behind us, minus the national championship. What a bizarre era. What is happening? There's also a national championship in there, but then some of the lowest lows. Talk about peaks and valleys.
There's so much to dive into. And as soon as this is the worst period when there's so much uncertainty. Once we get through the uncertainty, it'll smooth out from there.
Absolutely, man. All right. Well, there's nobody else I would rather be in the trenches with. We'll be there throughout. And we've got a game still coming up. We have the Citrus Bowl. I don't think we mentioned that Michigan has a game still to be played. So we'll break down the Citrus Bowl, obviously covering basketball. When we have the coaching hire, we'll go in depth on that.